Welcome back to CasualBiasRugby. It's the official match preview for the All Blacks taking on the Wallabies, Bledisloe inbound. And yeah, we all know it's one of the most exciting games in the calendar. It's one that you really look out for. It's one of the biggest rivalries in the sport alongside South Africa and the All Blacks, or Scotland and England, or England and Wales, right? Like, this is a proper rivalry, and people might say it's predictable, right? And I mean, fair enough. But let's not act like the Wallabies haven't put up a good fight every now and again, right? Like, no one's expecting the Wallabies to go ahead and steal the Bledisloe. Like, that would be foolish, right? But I don't think it's fair enough to write the Wallabies off quite yet. So in this video, we'll break down the two lineups, okay? We'll look at the history between the two teams, and then we'll do a little breakdown of the game, you know, and give our official predictions. So for the official predictions, by the way, I do have a link in my bio if you want to click that. If you're a man like me that likes to put some money where your mouth is, you know, have some fun with it, there is a link, or you can download the app called BETWAY and use code CASUAL to sign up. You can look at some of the promotions there. I don't endorse it, but I do it, and I thought I'll just give you the option if you wanted to do it as well. Anyway, starting off, we'll go through the All Blacks lineup, and I'm going to be a bit critical with it, you know, like I've been critical with it in the past, and I haven't really seen changes, and I think I need to be consistent with my thoughts around it. I think it's a great team, first and foremost, right? Like, I don't have many changes, but I think there is some things that really need to change, right? Like, when you lose against Argentina, you lose 2 in a row against South Africa, at some point you need to make changes in your squad. And I feel like since England, Fiji, and the Rugby Championship, we've kind of just seen the same players, right? Like, in all of those games, it feels like together, I'm not even sure we've seen 22 players start for the All Blacks. Now, you could be on two different worlds than I am, or you could have a different opinion than I have. You could see it as, okay, well, we're just getting consistency and backing the boys in their position. But I think you got to play around with it a bit. There's some boys that have really put up their hand to go out and get that starting jersey. And I just feel like Robertson hasn't really given anyone else the opportunity, you know? Like, how can you pick a team, but you haven't even seen everyone really play? So let's go through the team, and I'll tell you guys, okay? So Ethan de Groot makes his comeback. Very excited to see him once again. That will be a massive battle with him and Taniela Tupou, right? We all know it. I think it's going to be a physical game. Also, we'll definitely see some flair and the backline moving, but I'm really looking forward to the scrum time, because there's, I think both sets of forwards are absolutely scintillating. Okay, so Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor, and Tyrell Lomax. That's your base front three. I don't think you should do any rotation there. Obviously, you've got Tamaiti Williams, but the guy's still young. You can play him from the bench. I think those three are fixed in their position. I said Cody the other day. I made a world top 5 players on current form. I put Cody Taylor in there in that 5th spot, and yeah, it might sound like a bit of charity because he hasn't really been the standout player over the years, really, or he has never been considered as the top 2 best in the world. Like, everyone speaks about Dan Sheehan and Malcolm Marx, but he's been so good. And I think it's blasphemous for people to say, listen, I just put him in there after one game. Like, he's been so good from that England till now. He's been on great form, and he had a scintillating game against South Africa, 2 scintillating games against South Africa as well. So he fully deserved to be there. Really excited to see him and Tyrell Lomax. Just the front three, that partnership, that chemistry coming back together. I think that will be very, very vital for the All Blacks. Because, you know, if you get the physical upper hand in a game, I wouldn't say you win the game, but that's a massive advantage. So it was vital for them to get those 3 boys back together, especially when you see the likes who they're going up against at scrum time in the Wallabies. Scott Barrett, Tupou, no issues there. Okay, I don't really have a lot of issues with the forwards, as you can tell. So yeah, I would have gone with the same. I love Scott Barrett. I think he does need to step up his game a bit. He looked a bit better, I think, to some degree against South Africa. He was a menace at the line out. Just got to keep up with that. But we know him as this enforcer. I know people are talking about his discipline and stuff. I wouldn't have the captaincy on Scott Barrett. Like, I think I said I would have given him the captaincy, but I kind of feel like he's also the same as Ibn Etzebeth. You just kind of want him to go out and smash on people. Like, that is his role. Like, obviously, he does have some ill discipline, but you got to let him play the game, right? Like, that is kind of what made him so good. The fact that he was so hard, so tough. He was a proper enforcer. Tupuvai, massive piece of man. Wallace Atiti, the young man coming into that 6 jersey once again, absolutely standout player against the Springboks. World-class performance that game. Very excited to see him once again. And this is what I talk about, right? Like, one piece of rotation. I know there's injuries and stuff, but he's got his opportunity and he's fully used it, right? And I think that kind of has to go for the back line as well. Sam Cane takes that 7 jersey. Adi Savea gets that 8 jersey. I think Adi Savea is due for absolutely mammoth performance. Finally, I don't think we've seen the best of Adi just yet, but we know how good he is. He's literally the current world player of the year, and rightfully so. I mean, the guy is the best player. He is so good. Like, I've mentioned it before, if you do a combined 15, world 15 of whoever played, I put a lot of respect on current players, and I think Adi Savea takes that 8 jersey, and I don't even think it's close. I know people talk about Kieran Reid and those guys, but Adi Savea gets it for me. World-class player. Moving into the back line, Cortez Ratama and Damian McKenzie, and this is where I would have made the switch. I have no problems with Cortez Ratama. I think whether you play him or TJ doesn't really make a difference. Both of them quality players. I'm pretty sure the All Blacks fans, they are very excited to see the return of Cam Roigard. But for now, like, those two have done a great job. I think it's a great mixture of talent, young talent coming through, and then TJ Perenara's obviously just come back from an injury, but he's got the world of experience. He knows how to control the game. He understands international rugby. So I love that little partnership. But that 10 jersey, Damian McKenzie, I don't know. I think he's a world-class 10 when it comes to franchise level. He hasn't really done it for me at international level, and I wouldn't necessarily just drop the guy. I would just drop him to the bench, you know, or try something different. Bowden Barrett, in my opinion, like, it's the obvious choice. Just give him a run at 10 again. Like, he's come out and he said he wants to play 10. Just give him the reins of that 10 jersey for a couple of games, even if it's just 2 or 3 games. See what damage he could possibly do. But just to go Damian McKenzie, and you're not really getting anything out of it. Like, I'm a big fan of giving guys some game time, a couple of games in a row to find their feet, but then they need to start performing. And I think it's been more than a couple of games. Like, Scott Robertson has been very, very generous in terms of giving Damian McKenzie opportunities. And I don't kind of feel like he's lived up to the expectation that everyone's put on him. Obviously, he can still be a world-class player, right? We saw Richie Mo'unga struggling when he initially came into the All Blacks jersey, got the run of games, and then became the best 10 in the world. But he did it instantly after he got a good run of games, you know. So I don't really know. You can let me know if you would still play Damian McKenzie in that 10 jersey. I just think it's kind of time. Just try something else, you know. Centre combination, Jordie Barrett, Rieko Ioane. Jordie Barrett, fine, play him at 12. But Rieko Ioane, the guy's a wing. He's a wing. Would it really hurt even to try him out on the wing? Start him as 14. Like, go Jordie Barrett, Billy Proctor, or Jordie Barrett, Anton Lennon-Brown. I mentioned it a couple of times, right? Anton Lennon-Brown played a scintillating game against Argentina, right? Probably a man of the match performance in a losing cause. Hasn't started again. Same with Billy Proctor. Brilliant game against Fiji, albeit just Fiji. Look at the way that he played in the Super Rugby. Would it hurt to play him in that 13 jersey? At least just give him a couple of games. Give him 2 or 3 games, right? Just try something else other than Rieko Ioane, who I feel the guy's just not an outside centre. He's just not creative enough. He's literally a try-scoring machine on the wing. You look at his stats that he had on the wing. Why would you move him to outside centre? I know he played there at school level, but this is not school level anymore. You know, he had a decent game in the first game against the Springboks. You know, I actually gave him a shout-out. But he doesn't feel me as a great outside centre. So, even the second game against the Springboks, right, Rieko Ioane was scintillating when he went to the wing. Like, he just offered so much more. It just felt more natural seeing him on the wing. So yeah, that is a change that I would make. Obviously, you guys know the team a lot better than me. You guys can totally disagree. I'm open for your disagreement. By the way, please do remember to like and subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys. On the other wing, we've got Will Jordan, and then to round it off, Beauden Barrett at 15. And I can't wait to see Stephen Perofeta back. I was really impressed with him when you guys played against England. Obviously, and Caleb Clark on the other wing, who, in my opinion, on form, is probably the second best winger in the world after probably the best player in the world, Cheslin Colby. So I've been really impressed with Caleb Clark. I think he was a massive loss in that second test against the Springboks. Yeah, on form, absolutely brilliant. He is so good at the moment, and I think he's got that 11 jersey on lockdown, right? So Will Jordan on the other wing, and then Beauden Barrett to round it off with. I know there's a lot of controversial opinions about Beauden Barrett. Should he be in the starting 15? Should he rather be on the bench? Should he even be in the squad? I would just put him at 10. Like, just go balls to the wall, say, listen, Bodie, see if you can do it at 10. If it doesn't work, then obviously you just bring on Damien McKenzie, right? But as I said, I'm really looking forward to seeing Stephen Perofeta once again. Then on the bench, Asafu Amua, Tamaiti Williams, and what's it? Basilio Tossi. Never heard of him. I think it's a debutant, if I'm not mistaken. Well done to him for getting that All Blacks cap. I know it means a lot to get a cap. But yeah, Amua, massive player. Tamaiti Williams, massive player. Has Amua just not lived up to expectations for Robertson that Cody Taylor has played so much more? You know, like, even though Cody Taylor was by far the best player on the pitch alongside Wallace Atiti, you never play a forward about 70 minutes against, like, literally a team that uses a bomb squad to come on. Like, is it just a thing where Robertson doesn't have enough trust in the players? That's kind of the thing that I get from it. Like, how can you have a team and use 2 or 3 bench players? You don't even bring them onto the field. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, I'm very excited to see these boys. The All Blacks literally have a little bomb squad of their own if they really want to use it. Sam Darry, Luke Jacobson on the bench. Moving on to the bench, TJ Perenara, Anton Lennon-Brown, Sevu Reece, once again with the wing on the bench. Like, what are we doing? Oh, excuse me. What are we doing? Since when do you put wings on benches? Like, it just doesn't make sense, right? Like, especially when you're playing Rico Ioane as the outside centre. Because Rico can just slot into the wing position if there's a injury on the wing, or if Rico gets injured, you just bring on Anton Lennon-Brown, right? Just bring another creative playmaker or something onto the field. So I don't understand this whole thing about the wings on the bench, but I mean, each to its own, right? Let's move on to the Wallabies team, right? And I said I want to see this front row battle because the first name I mentioned, what a player, and he's young. Has to be one of the top players in the world at the moment. And I know he's playing for a shocking Wallabies team, right? Angus Bell. He's 2 players that really stand out, right? Well, actually 3, because we've got a massive return. Angus Bell, what a player. What a player. He was brilliant against Argentina. I think when he went off, that's when they conceded about 40 points. That is crazy to me. Anyway, Matt Faisler takes that 2 jersey, and Taniela Tupou, the absolute human, like a massive juggernaut of a human in that 3 jersey. That's why I'm saying I'm really looking forward to the scrum battle. I think it's going to be a clash of titans when it comes down to it. In the locks, you've got Nick Frost and Jeremy Williams. Not going to lie, don't know either of them too well. Obviously, Nick Frost, a bit more famous. But yeah, Jeremy Williams, who's that? Lucy's, exciting times, but I don't understand what... Okay, maybe I do understand. Rob Valentini, Fraser McWright, Harry Wilson. I was going to say, where's Carlo Tosano? I think he's injured. I think he might be injured. Otherwise, how could you not have him in that team? But yeah, if I'm not mistaken, as soon as I said, I'm a bit surprised. I realized, like, okay, well, maybe he's injured, right? Like, I think I read something like that. But Rob Valentini, what a play. He's been a standout performer for the Wallabies. I think he's been brilliant, right? And then, in my opinion, probably one of the best players in the world, Fraser McWright. He's been sensational at the Reds. He can literally by himself change the whole way that a game plays out. And I think he's been a massive loss for the Wallabies. So it's a great thing to have him back. And I mean, he's just come back from injury, straight into the starting lineup, which literally just tells you how much he means to this Wallabies team. And then Harry Wilson, takes that 8 jersey, who's also the captain of the Wallabies. Going into the back line, Nick White, Noah Lolosio gets that 10 jersey again. I think he's also due for a massive performance at some point. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this. In the centres, you've got Hunter Paisami and Len Ikitau. No real surprises there. They will have their work cut out for them. You know, the back line of the Wallabies, they're going to have to put in some absolutely massive heats. You know how dangerous the All Blacks can be. You know they attack the gain line the whole time. They make the backline tackle. I mean, just look at how many tackles Damian Dialinde and Jesse Kriel had to make. It was absolutely ridiculous, even the wingers. So, Paisami and Len Ikitau, they are the centres who will have to step up to the plate this weekend. Marika Kurabeti, Andrew Kellaway and Tom Wright, dangerous. Very dangerous. It's tough to pick between Kellaway and Tom Wright, because I think Kellaway is a lot better as a fullback than he is as a wing. I'm not saying he's a bad wing at all. I think he's a very good wing, but he's scintillating at the Rebels as a fullback. But then also like Tom Wright literally runs the show at the Wallabies, him and Noah Lolosio. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there is a bit of chemistry here. There's a lot of talent in this Wallabies team. I think 2 weekends ago against Argentinians was just like, I don't know, they just took their foot off the gas completely and they got absolutely smoked, right? But I don't think like they should be too hard on themselves, right? Like they were good for that first 30, and if they can take any confidence away from that first 30, I think they could be a good matchup for this All Blacks team, who's probably not the highest on confidence at the moment. I know they pulled South Africa very close, but they still lost the 2 games, and they lost against Argentina. So the Wallabies, I wouldn't say they're licking their lips. They would be very far. But they will be excited for this game. They will have the slightest glimmer of hope that they might find a doom and gloom All Blacks team. But I mean, as soon as you write them off or you think they're out of it, they'll come out and absolutely smash you. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of the Wallabies are also really scared. Onto the bench, we've got Brandon Painga Amosa. As you could tell, also no idea. Never heard of him. James Slip, obviously the experienced man, and Alan Alatua. Once again, the bench battle will be nice. I mean, that is saucy. Tamaiti Williams taking on Alan Alatua. The youngster taking on James Slipper. I like it. I like it a lot. Anyway, then we have Lucian Silikai Lotu and Langy Gleeson. I'm not going to act. Tate McDermott, Tom Liner, and Dylan Peach. Tate McDermott, how's he still not got a start? Did he start in that second game against the Argentines? No, I think it was Jake Gordon. Like, Tate McDermott has played every game, but he's just played off the bench. It's kind of the same as Grant Williams. Why would you not start him? He's your best 9. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Tom Liner, fair enough. And then Dylan Peach, who's been extremely good at the Waratahs, and I think he'll have a massive game this weekend as well. He probably replace Marika Kurabeti. I wouldn't take Kellaway off the field. He brings you too much in terms of creativity and being a try-scoring machine. So I just do that. That's kind of it for the 2 lineups. Let's look at the history between the 2 teams. And close your ears, Australia. You haven't won since... Well, you've won in 2020, right? But since then, you've met 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, right? And all of them going to New Zealand. Before that Australian victory, it was 1, 2, 3, 4 games before Australia got another victory. And then it's just been all New Zealand, right? Like, it's been dominance. I can't remember when was the last time that the Wallabies actually had the Bledisloe. Should I try and find it? Like, how far back do I have to go? I'm not even sure. I just talk off the cuff, so I don't have the facts with me. Like it's actually scary. It is scary to think that they play for the Bledisloe every single year, but the Wallabies hasn't got it in about 20 years. Yeah, official prediction for this game. I think it will actually be close. I'm going with the close game. I think it will be high scoring though, but I'm going with the All Blacks to win this game by about 7 points. Yeah. And I don't think I'm that far off, to be honest. People might be thinking I absolutely said a couple of stupid things. As you know, it's just a fan perspective. I haven't followed these 2 teams as closely as, let's say, if you're from New Zealand or Australia. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Please do remember to like and subscribe. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys. And we will see you next time. Thank you.